Hello, this is Chi and welcome to PCGMedia's review of stealth roguelike Eldritch. Sorry, Eldritch. Eldritch? Eldritch. I'm gonna go with Eldritch. Eldritch was developed by Minor Key Games, whose two founders actually worked on BioShock 2 and Borderlands. Throughout the game, you'll see certain aspects that reflect this, such as the two-handed weapon system and the first-person stealth mechanics. With its Minecraft-like graphics and creepy atmosphere, Eldritch puts you through randomly generated levels filled with monsters inspired by famed horror author H.P. Lovecraft, who most of you will probably know as the guy who created the Cthulhu monster, or Cthulhu, whatever. As far as roguelikes go, at least in my opinion, familiarity should progress alongside skill level. In the case of Eldritch, skill level remains almost stagnant throughout the whole game. In terms of difficulty, enemies in the first level don't stand very far from enemies in the last level. There is only a slight increase in difficulty with each level, but there isn't one aspect of gameplay that can't be easily overcome with the most basic of tactics. First level enemies go down after only a few hits and require only a minimum amount of dodging and maneuvering. Enemies in the second level can be more challenging, but only to some extent. Come to think of it, the only enemy that actually posed a challenge in Eldritch was the stone lizard. If you watch Doctor Who, the best way to describe the stone lizards are that they are very similar to the weeping angels. If you don't watch Doctor Who, the weeping angels are these creatures that only exist when they're not being observed. So basically, when you're looking right at them, they're just inanimate stone statues. But as soon as you look away, well, you die. When you die, as roguelikes go, everything you looted from your previous playthrough will disappear. The only thing you are allowed to keep for the next playthrough are artifacts, which can be found either on enemies or scattered across the map. However, you're only allowed to keep what you can store in the chest. The chest can be found by either backtracking to the library, which acts as your home base in between levels, or in a randomly generated room that spawns the same chest. These artifacts can be used as either mana for spells, or as currency to buy upgrades at the store. While the upgrades do make the game slightly more fun, it also makes the game easier than it already is. For example, the Destruction Amulet, when equipped, makes your pistol so strong that it can destroy blocks to create convenient pathways to the next room or floor. If you like, you can actually replay the easier levels over and over again and collect a ton of bullets, then just use the pistol to dig yourself to the end of the game. It's pretty easy. Another overpowered upgrade is the medkit, which consumes 50 artifacts per resurrection. The only catch with this is, the medkit is not always available in shops, so it's a bit of a gamble. But regardless, it's still not that hard to come by. So technically, if you really want to, you can spend 2 or 3 playthroughs farming artifacts, then just resurrect every time you die. If you're like me and you can't be asked to gamble on random spells and upgrades, you can just use the sprint, which is unlimited by the way, to dodge all enemies and finish the game in one quick run. This is the main issue with Eldritch. What little it has to offer it gives away nearly instantly. Exploring is dull and pointless because you can technically finish the game with just your bare hands. Everything else, the weapons and the upgrades, feel like bonus content to keep the game from looking like an old gen title. That might be a bit harsh, but there really isn't much to Eldritch. Combat is repetitive and stale. The difficulty curve is straight and only slightly jagged. The graphics aren't great. On top of that, Eldritch also costs £10 on Steam and will probably only take around 2 hours to finish. Completing the game does give you the option of playing through it again with slightly increased difficulty, but it doesn't change anything else, so there really isn't much replay value. Eldritch has a huge lack of defining features, and overall feels a lot like an unfinished game. I'm probably not gonna pick it up again. Ever.